Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got the beginning of a new era at Under Armour, Jordan Brand paying homage to a real American hero, a recap of the wildest Masters tournament in recent history, the week's hottest release, and of course, we have our Hard Pass. All right, let's start the show with some hot takes. Major League Baseball celebrated Jackie Robinson Day this past April 15th. Good to know that hasn't been forgotten or accidentally deleted from the calendar. Several Jordan Brand athletes, including Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, Ellie De La Cruz, and others wore a special version of the Air Jordan 3 baseball cleat with Jackie Robinson's number 42 on the heel. It's a symbolic gesture for sure, so let's add some substance to it. April 15th should not serve as a reminder of not only Robinson's place in not just sports history, but American history. Robinson spent roughly 2 years in the military during World War II. During that time, he served as a second lieutenant and part of the Army's Black Panthers 761 Tank Battalion. Much of his time was served in segregated units. In July 1944, Robinson was taken into custody after refusing to move to the back of an Army bus. Despite being court-martialed, Robinson was later acquitted and served out his time as a coach for Black Army athletic teams until he was honorably discharged in November 1944. 4 years later, and a year after his major league debut, President Harry S. Truman signed an executive order desegregating the military. Kind of a big deal. Let's try not to forget it or act like it doesn't matter. Moving on. A'ja Wilson had a message for all of us sneaker media people. Don't just give sneaker nicknames without passing it by A'ja. See, a few days ago, we got our first look at a new colorway of the Nike A1 that was dubbed Blue Fury. Not a bad name, I guess, kind of the same energy as the Pink Aura and the Pearl. But then, here comes A'ja like a WWE wrestler with an elbow from the top rope, aka Threads post. In the thread, A'ja is wondering who made up the Blue Fury nickname, implying that it's not her or Nike who came up with that one. Hey, once the sneaker is out there, people kind of call it whatever they want to call it. But before that, A'ja thinks we got to give these athletes the space to at least give us their take first. I get it. Cam Ward, potential, if not likely number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft, has signed a deal with Under Armour. It's not hard to see what the brand sees in Ward. His name is Cam. His jersey is number 1. He's going to be the number 1 overall pick. They've done this dance before and it turned out pretty well for them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I poured over hours of tape and watched Miami Hurricanes football last season, but I did read the Winger's feature on Cam Ward, and they're saying he's a slim Ben Roethlisberger, which is okay, I guess. I mean, guy's got 2 Super Bowl wins in his resume, but even I know that he played in a different era of football, and I don't know if Big Ben's style translates completely to today's game, but that's for the Tennessee Titans and Under Armour to figure out. Hope it's a successful partnership and we get some Curry Brand cleats on the gridiron this season. Look, if Steph and UA want Curry Brand to be a thing beyond hoops and golf, they need to think like Jordan Brand and expand now. There are a handful of leaked videos now of the Nike Sabrina 3 and Adidas AE2. And I know it's tempting to break out with a hot take about these sneakers, so I'll give mine as well. Calm the hell down. Don't be too excited if you're hyped for them, and don't be too sad if you're not. While these leaks do give us a good idea of what they will look like, it's far too early to give a definitive judgment on them yet. If you don't want to look like an ass when they drop and they are better or worse than expected, just hold on. Wait until either they've been officially revealed or they are in stores to make judgment. You'll thank me later. Before we move on to the pick of the week, I want to give a shout out to everybody on the sneaker internets who made the same exact joke. See, the New Balance 1300 JP made in the USA was not only releasing as part of the brand's Grey Day celebration in May, it's thus fulfilling its once every 5-year rule when it comes to bringing back this particular sneaker. But that it was priced at $330, a slight increase from the $300 price tag on the 2020 pair. And if you're wondering if the word tariff was in that joke, then yes, you follow the same people that I do, and they all made the same joke. All right, for the pick of the week, it's the Air Jordan 11 Low Playoffs. This is on April 26th for $190. We'll talk more about this one on this week's Hard Pass, but I gotta say, why is this not a big deal? All right, so one of the coolest sports moment of recent memory took place this past weekend. No, it's not me breaking the course record at Grove 23 when Jordan Brand previewed their new golf gear. It's Rory McIlroy winning golf's most prestigious event, the Masters. By the way, I was at Grove 23 for Jordan Brand's new golf gear. You can check out what I thought about it on the next Too Hard to Pass podcast, Tuesday. 2 p.m. Pacific. Anyway, after over a decade of missed opportunities and heartbreaking disappointments, Rory finally broke through. Not only did he win his first major since 2014, but it was also the final piece in his quest to complete golf's Grand Slam, which consists of the Masters, the US Open, the British Open, and PGA Championship. What makes this story much more compelling than the other 5 golfers who have completed the Slam is that Rory had to wait so long to finally accomplish the feat, whereas his predecessors, which include names like Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, won the final major they needed in relatively short time. There's that, and Rory is our emo golf king. Don't believe me? Check out a replay of the Sunday final and watch from the moment Rory sinks that putt to win to when he finally walks to the cabin to sign his scorecard and collect his green jacket. It was like watching Inside Out 1 and 2 play out in real life in a span of 10 minutes. That's an 11-year itch that he was finally able to scratch. That's 11 years of being considered the favorite in every tournament he walks into, the golfer everybody gravitates towards, and before he got sick of everybody's on both sides of the PGA Live debate, the heart and soul of the tour. He didn't just want all the smoke. He let it consume him. And save for a few rough patches here and there, it is golf after all. He was always a threat. Doesn't matter the tournament, doesn't matter the field. Well, except at Augusta National. It mattered there. He had an uncanny ability to snatch defeat from the warm embrace of victory. One of the problems that the PGA Tour has been working hard to resolve this past couple of years is a perceived lack of personality. Now, I would argue as someone who has worked with the tour and produced content for them, there is no shortage of fun and interesting people on tour who deserve more burn on television and social media. But in this era where perception is everything, it's tough to shake the notion that all professional golfers are soulless automatons who only speak in cliches and broad strokes to avoid raising the ire of sponsors who pay a lot of money for their logo to be plastered on their polos, and a fan base that's, let's be honest, skews heavily to one side financially and politically. Rory's was one of the rare exceptions, and he was beloved for it. Don't believe me? Rory isn't the only current player on tour who, until this past Sunday, was 1 major short of a Grand Slam. Jordan Spieth has 3 of the 4 majors in his resume. If he can somehow win the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow in North Carolina next month, he too can join Rory in the exclusive club of Grand Slam winners. If you're watching this and are the most casual of golf fans, you probably didn't know that. Or maybe you did. You did know that fact at one time, but haven't thought about it in a while. That's because after winning the British Open in 2017, Jordan hasn't been a fixture in the winner's circle, having only won twice since. Meanwhile, Rory has run around 30 tournaments between the 2014 British Open and the 2025 Masters. The other reason is that unless you're a terminally online golf fan who goes out of their way to nitpick every single Jordan Spieth quote, and trust me, there are people like that, Jordan is a low-key dude who doesn't draw that much attention to himself. As NBA dorks argue about who's the face of the league, the PGA Tour does not have that problem. No disrespect to Jordan, Scottie Scheffler, Rickie Fowler, everybody on the Live Tour, but Rory is him when it comes to this era of golf. I guess you could make the argument Tiger is still him no matter what, but let's give Rory his due. He could win a tournament or fail in the most spectacular way possible. He's front and center. He wears his emotions on the sleeves of his Nike golf shirts. He's the face of Nike golf as it transitioned from gear to only apparel and shoes. In his younger days, he had the high-profile celebrity relationships that the tabloids ate up. He was the cover athlete of the PGA Tour's video game after Tiger split from developer EA Sports. Want to know what the fancy-ass Omega watch of the moment is? Check out what's on Rory's wrist after he wins a tournament. Again, 30 times between majors, so there's a lot of those pictures. And when the tour needed someone front and center to defend their honor against those who defected to Live, it was Rory answering all the questions at press conferences and giving spicy quotes during interviews. When Rory said, "Fuck you, Phil," in reference to the most infamous of Live line steppers that was captured on season 1 of Full Swing, that moment endeared Rory to a lot of fans. Sure, it also pissed off those who want class and decorum from the golfers, but those are the same fans who want their golfers to shut up and swing, aka be soulless automatons. And that's why, with each passing year that ended without a green jacket, the anxiety grew. Not just from Rory, but from the fan base. The fact that he was 1 major short, and the fact that it was the Masters, and the fact that some of his flameouts were the stuff of legend only added to said anxiety. Like, who knew there were cabins to the left of the 10th tee? Nobody. until Rory pulled his shot left and TV cameras had to scramble to get an angle of those cabins on the final day in 2011. He was leading by 3 at the time. He would finish tied for 15th. In 2018, he gifted Patrick Reed his only major, and really, that's a burden he and all of us will bear for the rest of our lives. And in 2022, when he shot an 8 under 64 to almost complete a historic comeback, but alas, a buzzsaw named Scottie Scheffler prevented that from happening. Sprinkle a few top 10s along with those infamous L's, and yeah, it's safe to say that everything evolves around the Masters for Rory and his fans. There's no need for me to recap what happened on Sunday because we all saw it. All I gotta say is, despite a Greg Norman-esque effort to choke away that green jacket, Rory found a way to be nothing like Greg Norman. And the emotion of that moment after that final putt was something you couldn't script. That sequence, from the drop to his knees to walking to the cabin to pick up his green jacket, was absolute cinema, as the kids say. Everybody shared in Rory's catharsis. It seemed like every time he hugged a family member or a best friend or a Shane Lowry, who honestly feels like both, he was on the verge of another happy cry. It's not like Tiger embracing his family in 1997, because that wasn't just a moment for him, that was a moment for everybody, but it was up there. Actually, it's kind of like Tiger's win in 2019. 11 years in between majors, winning consistently except in majors, headlines for the wrong reasons, even though some of it is none of our damn business, etc. It's not exactly the same, but man, did it feel so good to finally experience. And thank God, so we can stop talking about it. As relieved as Rory was to get that grand slam, the golf world was relieved too, because we wouldn't shut up. Again, no offense to Jordan Spieth, but winning the PGA Championship to complete the slam isn't as sexy of a story as doing it in Augusta. The only other active golfer on either the PGA and LIV Tour that is one short of a slam is Phil Mickelson. But we all know that ain't happening. Why? Because his missing piece is the US Open. If Rory's shortcomings at Augusta was legendary, Phil's collapse at the US Open deserved a spot in the Hall of Fame. Look, as Rory celebrated, the first athlete that co-writer thought of was Dirk Nowitzki. In his mind, nobody in the history of sports has ever been happier to win a championship than Dirk was in 2011 when Dallas beat the Miami Super Friends. I mean, there was a team in 2008 that annoyingly beat my 17-time world champion and one-time NBA Cup champion Los Angeles Lakers in the finals that is still milking that win to this day, but no one cares about them. Anyways, since that finals win, Dirk was just perpetually happy for the rest of his playing days. He got his one, and he was good. I'm sure in a few weeks it'll all settle in and Rory will want to win number 6 and 7 and 8, but if he never wins another major, I'm sure he'll be fine. Besides, he's got that next generation to deal with. Like, did you see how cold-blooded his daughter Poppy was when she sank that 25-footer during the par 3 contest? Sank that bad boy like it was light work. Might have to get pointed for Poppy for when I finally get my invite to Augusta, which should be sometime between now and never, probably, but it's nice to dream. Before we get to this week's Hard Pass, let's do some quick picks for WrestleMania. By the time you watch this, Travis Scott will probably be WWE champion thanks to The Rock after he forces John Cena to hand over the title to The Flame. I mean, that sounds crazy, but when you consider how lacking this year's build is compared to 2024, would it shock me if they tried something wild just to get people riled up and complaining? Remember, no matter what Triple H's long-term plans are, it's always subject to change when The Rock feels like it, and that's a shoot, brother, or is it a work and we're all being played? Who knows? And really, that's half the fun. All right, night one, we've got Jey Uso over Gunther, Tiffany Stratton over Charlotte Flair, Jacob Fatu over LA Knight, New Day over the War Raiders, Naomi over Jade Cargill, and Seth Rollins over Roman Reigns and CM Punk, with Rollins becoming the new Paul Heyman guy. And then for night two, Dominic Mysterio becomes Intercontinental Champion, Bianca Belair turns heel and becomes Women's Champion, Damian Priest wins while stealing the show from Drew McIntyre, and John Cena win a record-breaking 17th World Championship thanks to interference from The Rock, Travis Scott, and possibly the president. What? Guy's a WWE Hall of Famer. It's not impossible. Just be ready for it is all I'm saying. Actually, the third man that we should all root for to cost Cody the title is racist dumpster fire Hulk Hogan. Just so we can get a repeat of what happened when he showed up in LA for the Netflix premiere earlier this year. I don't think I've ever been prouder of LA than I was on that day. Do us proud, Vegas. do us proud. It's time for this week's Hard Pass. We take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like the lack of energy for the Air Jordan 11 Low playoffs. As we mentioned earlier, the Air Jordan 11 Low PE that Michael Jordan wore in the 1996 NBA Finals is finally getting a retail release. You can miss me with that 2015 drop that had the red lining. It's not the same thing. It's okay that you like those sneakers, and yeah, MJ did wear them, but it's not the same thing. Anyway, where was I? Michael Jordan wore these motherfuckers in the 1996 NBA Finals. Not a regular season game, not during a championship parade, not during a commercial shooting, not during a game of beer pong. The NBA freaking Finals. And even that Finals is a cut above because it was the season when the Chicago Bulls went 72-10 and turned guys like Luke Longley and Judd Bushler into rock stars by proximity. And for reasons that will probably never be explained, we never got that player exclusive for nearly 3 decades. But it's here now. And it might not even be the release people are most looking forward to this week. Like, what world are we living in that new colorways of the Nike Reacts Rejuvenate is getting more hype than the Air Jordan 11 Low player exclusive that, again, Michael Jordan wore in the NBA Finals? I just can't believe this. Like, wow. Now, that's the kind of hard pass that we would have made if this sneaker had been released a few years ago. Certainly if it was before the pandemic era. Jordan 11 Lows might not be as revered by the sneaker community as the original mid-cut version, but still, MJ actually wore these. That used to mean something to a sneakerhead. If this was the blog era, everybody from Nice Kicks to Sneaker News to Kicks on Fire to the Shoe Game would have been covering this sneaker for months before release. Every new leak or early pair would get front page coverage with countless beauty shots. Oh, remember the sneaker beauty shots of the 2010s? You had people sitting by ledges so you could get an angle of the sole. There were the kicks shots in the studio with overly dramatic lighting or backgrounds that made you think they were Kardashians or something. Then you had the photo shoot with attractive ladies in various states of undress that put everybody in horny jail. Sure, it seemed silly when red Nike Air Pythons got that treatment, but an Air Jordan 11 that MJ actually wore? It deserved all that and more. And shout out to my buddies like Nightwing, Fomer, and Tony D. Too Wild for sharing their videos of these kicks and giving them the proper respect that they deserve while still delivering honest reviews. They brought the energy for sure, but the community just doesn't care as much as they used to. On social media, all I kept seeing were comments saying that they were surprised that MJ wore these and they might be interested in picking them up, or that the quality of the 2015s are better without seeing the 2025s in person. It's a far cry from the fervor these would have gotten if they had dropped in 2012, and I kind of miss that. Yes, this hard pass segment is just me yearning for a simpler time when Jordan 11 Lows were $150 and I didn't have to worry that tariffs were going to make them $300 one week and then back to the original price the next week because Nike managed to carve out an exception without actually moving production stateside. Look, I miss when all I had to do was draft a tweet with the word Jordan on it and the engagement would go through the roof. Nowadays, I post something about Jordans and all some clowns have to say is, Yeezy taught him. Like, sir, this is a Wendy's. A post about some Jordan golf shoes. So, what do we really want at the end of the day? Do we want people crashing the sneakers app in order to get a pair while everybody else lines up at 2 a.m. on a Saturday as they wait for the Foot Locker at the mall to open? That means the hype is through the roof. But as exciting as that might be, this means it's also attracting opportunistic resellers and those who are just in it for the clout to try to grab a pair. They're boxing out those sneakerheads who do care that MJ wore these in the finals, or simply prefer the lows because they are better suited for casual purposes than the mids. So it's resale prices shoot up and nobody's happy versus the sneakers sit in stores because inflation has made them out of reach and nobody's happy. There just has to be a balance out there that makes sense to everybody, except for the resellers. They're not involved in this equation. But look, we just haven't found what that is yet. What do you think the right balance is between hype and availability? Because I don't know what it is. Let me know in the comments down below. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week. If you would like to possibly be featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave a short message or social if you want, no more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you next week. Peace.